Bienvenue, bonjour, je suis de retour et aujourd'hui on va répondre à une question que l'un de vous m'a posée dans une vidéo précédente. Allons-y. Now I had a question from a video, I'll put it up on the screen here, where we've got Adkirti Siva who said that, yep, your accent's spot on. Hardest thing for me when attempting to speak French is how to structure the sentences and then what words to actually use. So they were saying that maybe it's because I don't know all the key vocabulary, and they were asking, should I practice listening or spoken French more? So answer is yes. In order to speak good French, you need to read and listen very well. So I split it up into two parts for French. I think of it like you've got your inputs and then you've got your outputs. Inputs, reading, listening. Outputs, speaking and writing. Once you get your inputs really good, the outputs become very easy, right? You'll notice that for young children, okay, they don't start speaking until they've listened to so much of their native language, for example, English. Just like me growing up, I didn't come out of the womb speaking fluent English. I slowly, through hearing thousands and thousands of firstly noises, sounds, then words, then sentences, then I was able to form my own and then speak gradually, okay? Now for when we're learning French or any other language as well, it's really a matter of building up really good reading and listening. And then once we've done that, we can then speak. Because imagine, how are you going to speak about something you don't know that well? It's just like, speaking in French is really like, you're only going to be good at that when you know how to read and listen in French really good. Because the example would be, let's say you needed to give a presentation to people at your workplace on a certain subject. But let's say there's, three subjects, three things you mainly do as a task. Two of the tasks you do 80% of the time, but then this other task you only do 20%, 10% of the time. If you tried to give a presentation to the other employees in your company on, okay, this is what this is about, this is how you do it, I'm explaining it all to you, here you go. It's not going to work that well because you don't know that much about it because you don't do much of it. It's the same thing for French. You're going to be able to speak really good French once you can read and listen to really good French. Now the way to do this is to build up, okay, from beginner to intermediate in your reading and listening. I say it all the time, it's really looking to combine these two things. So reading and listening, have them together. If you've got something that you really enjoy in French, for example, a podcast or a certain audio file, get the transcript. If there's no transcript, try and find another audio file which you can get one for. Because what I want you to do is I want you to get the transcript with the French written out, and then you're going to use a translator tool and you'll have the French written out with all of the sentences, bang, 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 and then the English translation, bang, 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 bang. Then what you can do, instead of just listening to the podcast without seeing the French there written, well, let's put the earphones in, put it in the translator, read through the French as you're listening, and then pausing at certain points where you don't understand the French, and then checking in your translator tool where you've got it all down. You can paste in like 50 lines, 100 lines at a time. They can often take up to 1,000, 2,000 words total. So you can put in all the French, all the English, wherever there's a point where you're listening and reading at the same time in the French and you don't understand, pause, and then you can check the English. What that's going to do, it's going to allow you to actually understand what you're listening to. Because building up the reading and listening is very important, and something that people often get wrong is that they just try and speed through to get it done. They think, okay, if I just do, 2 chapters of this book today in reading, perfect, I've done it, that's good. That's the wrong way to approach it. What you want to do is go, okay, I want to understand, every page in this book to a 50, 60, 70, 80% level. Anything between I like to say it's around 40, 50% to 80%, that's the range you want, okay? Anything easier than that, it's a waste of time or it's just very light revision. Anything harder than that, from the 80 to 100%, other way around. Anything below the 40, 50% range all the way to 0, you're not going to learn anything because it's just too difficult, okay? And anything over the 80%, 90, 100% range, it's just a bit too easy for you. You need to be learning new words. So if you're in between the 50 and 80%, that's perfect. And then once you're building that up daily, okay, the book I like to use, it's called Assimil, ASSIML, just like the word assimilate. It's a very good book. It's got the French on one side of the page, it's got the English on the other. And essentially what you're doing here is you're using the audio files they give you, good native speakers, actors. Each of the chapters in the book, there's about 100 of them. They go up, they scale from beginner level all the way up to intermediate, just on a slope, okay? So the middle lesson, lesson 50, is sort of hard. It's a low, intermediate, high beginner level, and the lesson 100, that is built for strong intermediate, okay? So it gets you all the way down from lesson 1 beginner, base beginner, all the way up to strong intermediate. And as you're reading the French for each of the lesson, you've got the translation for the English, just like I was saying before with the audio file, if you can get that translation. And then you're building up all the way through, double the input at the same time, okay? Because you're hitting your inputs, you're reading and listening. Once you do that, once you can move from beginner to intermediate with whatever resource works for you, you can have a look online, there's a lot that are helpful. Comment down below if you've got a question on the ASIML book. I found it the most useful, and it's what my students use as well. And once you move from beginner to intermediate with whatever resource works, now it's really a time for speaking. You can bring it in then. But as the comment was saying there, this person was having problems doing the speaking without having a good reading and listening, because it's like giving a presentation on neurosurgery. I have no idea. What am I going to put on the presentation if I had to talk to people about that or explain concepts to people? I have no idea. It's just like if I tried to speak German. I could pick out maybe like 2 words and that's it. I can't form sentences, right? Just like I can't form sentences on neurosurgery. I would just be plagiarizing off Wikipedia because I don't understand the things I'm talking about. Same thing with French. In order to understand the things you're talking about, you need to know how to read and listen. And it's not like, oh, this is so annoying, I have to go and read and listen, and then I can do the fun part of speaking. No, while you're doing your reading and listening and building up your level from beginning to intermediate, you can speak a bit, but it just cannot be the bulk of your study because it's going to be ineffective. Just like for my neurosurgery presentation, the bulk of my study before I present, it can't be talking about neurosurgery. No, I need to go off and do my own reading and listening and actually speaking with other people who can tell me about the neurosurgery. That works way better. That would actually prepare me for the presentation, and then the speaking part can come at the end via the form of presenting, okay, and communicating that forward. Same thing with French. So that's my answer to that question, okay? If you're looking to improve your speaking, do your reading and listening first. It's an absolute necessity. And I know it might be a bit annoying. Speaking French is fun, but I'll tell you what, speaking French from experience, it's way more fun when you actually know what you're talking about. It's way more fun because you can actually form sentences and feel really confident as well. You're going to build confidence, real confidence through experience, not just say fake confidence where you're trying to memorize a sentence and you're trying to always prepare and you're getting nervous and, oh, what if they say that back to me quickly, I won't understand. Once you build up your reading and listening really well, you can then do the exact same for your speaking. You can think of it just like the speaking, it's always going to be just sitting behind and trailing, okay? Just like a horse and carriage, okay? The horse is at the front, the carriage is at the back, the speaking's at the back, the carriage, and the horse is at the front as the reading and listening. So build up your horse and then the carriage will follow. Thank you for watching. I hope that's useful. And yeah, if you've got any more questions on French, any of you, you can post them down below. I always answer every comment I get. And yeah, have an awesome day.